What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another panel show as Spurs have finally had their first loss of the season. We've got a debutant on the panel show today, Mr. Box Office TV. Alex, how we doing, my friend? I'm
relaxed. I'm cool. I'm chilled. I'm absolutely chilled. I've got to be honest. I've been this is the chilledest I've been. Well, I've been chilled nearly all season, to be honest with you, because I knew what was going on this season. So, I wanted to come on because you cheeky little boy and Ben having a little cheeky little dig at me at the end of the match, and a little cheeky dig at me. So I thought, you know what, I want to come.
When did I have a dig at you? When did I have a dig at you?
A little cheeky dig at me.
When?
Said, at the end of the game, he said, You're being positive now, Alex. I can't believe it. Something on the lines of that. And I thought, you know what? I want to come on this panel show now.
You know why, Alex? You know why? Because every game that we win, you come out being like, oh, that was shit. That was shit. That was shit. And we lose 4-1 to Chelsea. And you come out and then the first thing you say to me was like, wow, that was pretty good.
You'll find out during the show anyway, but it's good. Thank you for inviting me anyway.
Thanks for coming on, bro. It's been a long time coming. And a returning panel guest in Brian Daigle. How are we doing, Brian?
Very good, boys, and everyone in the chat. All good and looking forward to this one. You both well?
Yeah, apart from a loss to Chelsea, I can't complain. I think we'll get into it because I came out of that stadium with a sense of pride as well. Not just you, Alex. I think many fans did. The players went off to a round of applause, standing ovation from the Spurs faithful, and I think it was well deserved, to be honest. But let's get into the first topic of the panel. And seeing as we have come crashing to our first defeat of the season, 4-1 at home to the hands of Chelsea, Alex, do you think that result was a bit of a wake-up call, a bit of a reality check for Tottenham?
I think it's for Tottenham fans. I don't think it was a wake-up call for Postecoglou, right? Because I think when we see what he said before, he said, yeah, the fans can get excited. They can get excited, but he knows where we're at. He said we haven't popped yet. And that's it. He wasn't alluded. He wasn't mesmerised by the games that we've played already. Yeah, he gave us credit, and he said, he's been giving us, applaudits as well, the players as well, and he's given a lot of credit as well. But I just don't think. I think he wasn't really overruled by the situation. You see, I think everything he said in June and what he said consistently is that he's going to play this way and he's going to continue playing this way, and he stuck to his word. So, I don't think it's really. I think the only thing that he can't legislate for is the injuries, and that's it really. And sendings off happen, and that's it. But to be honest, no, I don't think. I don't think there's anything to really expect of it. I just think the game was crazy. Let's be honest, the game was crazy, and that's it, Chelsea. But yeah, I don't think so, to be honest with you. I don't think the manager, and I don't think the players. I think more the fans, because I think the fans got really excited because of the football, understandably, because we haven't had great football. But I just don't think we realised that there's still a long way to go with this.
Brian, Spurs fans, yourself, myself, everyone involved was sitting on cloud 9, potentially going 5 points above Arsenal, back top of the league. It did come crashing down with a 4-1 defeat at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium Monday night. Do you feel that was a bit of a wake-up call?
I'm kind of like with Alex with the fan base. It is. You look at it, there were people that are getting very, very excited. We're winning it. It's like, no, we're not. Listen, we've played 10 great games. Let's be honest, 10 very, very good games, and the football has been great. The results have been brilliant. Those people, I think that's the reality check they needed. It can just like that, just change in a heartbeat. People that thought they were going to get Champions League or qualify for Europe, don't have to reality check. We all knew the defeat was going to come at some point. Don't think anyone thought we'd go invincible. So I think we're way ahead of where we should have been, or where we thought we would have been, and we've taken one result. I think a lot of it's come down to who the result was against and the manner of it, as opposed to we've lost a game. It was going to come. There's 2 teams you didn't want to lose it to: Arsenal and this lot, and possibly West Ham. And unfortunately, it's happened this way. But wake up call. I don't know if it's a wake up call.
It's an interesting one to think about, because I think that if you look at maybe what rival fans are saying about Spurs, they're all saying, oh, Spurs think they can win the league. Spurs fans think they're going to go unbeaten all season. I mean, they're really like putting words in our mouths consistently, rival fans, time and time again this season. Sim, do you think that was a bit of a wake-up call, or did you not learn anything new from this game? I mean, we all kind of agreed and said all season, if we get injuries in this kind of ilk, then we're going to falter a little bit. And I don't think it's any surprise, on top of that, going down to 9 men, we lost as heavily as we did.
I think that's maybe the wake-up call in the sense that for the first 10 games, Spurs have been in dreamland. And we've pretty much not had a care in the world, like for the first 10 games. We've had no injuries. Everyone's playing so well. We're winning games. We're playing beautiful football. Things were just going pretty like hunky-dory for the first 10 games. And we kept saying, in terms of Tottenham faltering, we're only 1 injury away from this happening or that happening. But we weren't even thinking about it as if it was going to happen. It was just like, yeah, if that happens. But everyone was saying, like, we've got a great first 11. As long as they stay fit, we can have a great season. But it's a wake-up call in terms of how quickly things can change and how quickly things can change negatively for the season. Like, because we knew how important Van de Ven is. Romero gets sent off after he's been having a stellar season. He has one of his off games where he's like a bull in a china shop. He gets sent off. Maddison picks up a little nick as well. Udogie as well. Unfortunately for him, he ends up getting a red card after. It was very similar to the Arsenal game in terms of the start, where he was struggling a bit and then he got booked, and he got booked again this time. But in the Arsenal game, he turned it around. This time, he maybe lost his head a bit and ended up getting himself sent off. So maybe it's a wake-up call in terms of how mature maybe we were hoping a lot of these players were, maybe. But I think if you ask most Tottenham fans, I think they would have said that the first 10 games is only 10 games, and you can't judge a whole team and a whole season based on that. And maybe something like this, maybe not the implosion, but a result like this was maybe coming at some point. But it's frustrating the way it did happen, because we were playing so well the first 20 minutes, and it was like self-sabotage. We imploded ourselves. We just started doing ridiculous things. Udogie with a 2-footer challenge, Romero kicking people and then getting himself sent off. So it was very much self-inflicted. And that's the most maybe frustrating thing, because I think maybe it would have been more of it could be easier to take a wake-up call if you just get beaten by a team who were just on the day better than you, which they were. But you can't take away from the fact that why did Romero and Udogie, why were they self-inflicting themselves with these stupid challenges and ridiculous things, which like no manager can really legislate for? It was just like that's a frustrating thing. But for me, I was never really looking at the league title challenge anyway. That wasn't what I was focused on. I kept saying, look at the gap between us and 6th. That's what
we know. Every time before you went to bed, you were looking at that league table.
I was dreaming of it.
Just a second before you went to sleep, just a quick glance at the table.
Yeah.
Then you can have some happy dreams.
I could definitely go to sleep a lot easier looking at the league table, that's for sure. But I was definitely looking more at the gap between us and 6th. And right now it's at 6 points. So obviously it's cut a bit, but that is the significant gap for me if we want to be in the Champions League for next season. As I said, that in terms of the title race, that can change. It's so tight, it can change within 1 week very, very quickly. So I've never thought Tottenham were there. And now with the injuries, it's going to be even harder. But I think if we're looking at Champions League for next season, then there's not a wake-up call for that objective. Like I still think we're very much on for that.
I agree. But Alex, I wanted to get your opinion on what actually happened, because you obviously came out, we had a conversation, you said how happy you were after the game with the performance put in. What was it specifically that made you come out so positive after a 4-1 defeat to Chelsea?
We fought. We were fighting. You know what I mean? Like, for me, I got to give a lot of credit to Postecoglou, because and I don't understand the criticism, because he was telling you, this is the thing that frustrates me about some Tottenham fans. They say to me, "Oh, you wanted attacking football, you don't love it, you don't enjoy it." Yeah. Then he starts doing what he's doing there, right? He'd made the decision to keep a high line, right? He told people he's not going to stick to his principles. Yeah. If he goes and does people told him to do, right? What are the players thinking? Well, you told us we want to be attacking team, though. You know what I mean? And then to another point as well, the only thing I can blame him for at the moment is that he didn't adapt his philosophy, his system to the situation. But you can't do that in 10 games, can you? You can't do that in 10 games, can you? Hence why I said from the very, very beginning, which I've said on my channel, Mr. Box Office TV, by the way, did on a video, right?
Nice little shameless plug there.
You know what I mean? No, I had to plug it just to show that I have said it on my channel as well. My point is, you know what I mean, is that this is going to take time, and you need to see when this team has a bad run of games. And I learnt a lot more in that game about the players in that game than I learnt the last 10 games. You see what I'm saying? Like Manchester United are learning about Ten Hag right now and their team right now in their bad run. You know what I mean? Yeah. Remember when Leicester City beat Manchester City, Guardiola's first season? Yeah, 4-2. Yeah. Look what happened afterwards. Yeah, that season. Yeah, they won the championship. You see, this is what a team goes through. Yeah, and this is why it just frustrates me that when I'm hearing what I'm hearing from Tottenham fans that was criticising me, saying that I was being negative. Yeah, and it's ironic now. I was sitting there, and I'm still not on the Postecoglou train, but the reason why it is because I'm seeing what I'm seeing now. I'm actually getting to know him now. You see what I'm saying? I'm getting to know this guy, like I did with Pochettino, like I did with Martin Jol. You see what I'm saying? Harry Redknapp, you don't need to get to know him because you know what he's all about. You know what I mean? You see? But
how close are you to singing his name, Alex? How close?
That's gonna be a long time, Sim. You know what I mean? I'm Ben Sawyer. That's a long time, Ben Sawyer. But I learnt today, Højbjerg, he's a reliable player. Yeah, and he has been reliable the last couple of games. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he was absolutely fantastic. Emerson, I'll give him credit as well. Yeah, the team, Song keeps on running. Yeah, Basuma. Yeah, the whole team were playing like we're fighting for each other. Yeah, down to 9 men, and they were crumbling. Chelsea, they were crumbling, and this is Mr. Box Office talking now. Yeah, because I will tell you how rubbish my team is when we're winning. Yeah, so this is me saying this. Yeah, where I saw a team that were running for running for it. Yeah, and we should have at least got a draw. At least got a draw. I saw Modric. He only turned up on after the second goal. He's
Modric?
Absolute rubbish. Yes, absolute rubbish. Diaz.
We didn't play Real Madrid.
I know, but Diaz has got more than him all day long. I saw him for Liverpool. He rings round us. Modric, Sterling, hot air. Absolute hot air. And Jackson,
you're talking about Mudryk.
Modric. But Ukrainian, sorry my pronunciation. I'm not perfect. I'm not a journalist. I'm Mr. Box Office. But the point is, right? It's like I saw a team literally rinse this team to pieces with 9 men. We could have won it with 10 men.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think with 10 men, we were still in the game.
And I stood there, and I don't care whether people say, "Oh, you're a loser because you said this," because I appreciate what I see. That's why I go to games. Yeah, and I sat there and I did applaud them because it was a heroic performance.
Alex, what would you say? What would you say about that period just after we scored the second goal, which was ruled out, and then Chelsea 11v11. They took a bit of control in that part. Romero could have got sent off, Udogie could have got sent off, and we imploded for some reason. What do you think happened in that bit of the game?
I think we thought it was a bit too easy. I think the first part of the first half, we were really on top of them, yeah. And I think we just got a bit high on ourselves a little bit, and I think we didn't control it. You see what I'm saying? We didn't calm ourselves down a little bit. I think it was getting a bit too heated a little bit as well. And then Udogie and Romero. Oh boy, I think whatever you look at it, there were sendings off. You see what I'm saying? We just got to look at it. It is a sendings off. I know people look at the rules and stuff and say, "Oh, could be this, could be that." It happens. You know what I mean? So it's a sentence off, and that's it. So, you know, that second after those incidents happen, it was just really a case of, and I mean, what is it? Vicario was so unlucky with the penalty. I've got to be honest, really unlucky with the penalty, and he's another one. He's another one who's really impressed me. He again made some fantastic saves. Honestly, so good. And the thing is, when we were playing that high line, he was coming out all the time to try and clear the ball as well. He was absolutely fantastic. He was unlucky as well. And that second half, I was sitting there in my seat and saying, "Okay, Chelsea, here you go. After 9 men, here you go. What are you going to do?" Did nothing. Did absolutely nothing. And this was Emerson and Dyer in defence.
Alex,
Emerson and Dyer in defence.
Alex, just before I move on to Brian, I just want to ask you one question. You mentioned about all these players impressing you. Is it time to start calling Paratici the Don then?
I think that's a bit too far. It's saying that though, right? And this is thanks to Stelios and your boy Brian and I forgot his name now. Oh, he's gonna
Iggy.
No. Graham. Who went to the stage, went to the training ground. Yes, he's been cooking, and the reason why we've got the structure in place at the moment with the young players that are coming up, everyone's playing the same way throughout the ages, is because of Paratici. Getting Simon Davies is because of Paratici. So I will give him credit for that. It's just about, and I don't want to move it on because we're keeping on the Chelsea game, but if they keep that consistency throughout the season, that's what I'm questioning at the moment. But I will give him credit for that 110%, because if we didn't have Simon Davies and the structure in place, it wouldn't have been because of Paratici. You know what I mean? Simple as that for me. So I'll give him credit for that. Yes, I will. 100%. Yeah.
Brian, what was, I haven't spoken to you since the game. What was your kind of feeling at the final whistle? Was it also a sense of pride? Were you happy after the game? Obviously not happy because we lost, but were you proud of the team?
I was. I came onto the post-match show and spoke with Simeon when we did it. And I said, my first line I said, is it mainly about pride? What I don't get with what's been going on with this fan base, if you look at it, when we had Pochettino and we sacked him, one of the biggest gripes with him was his substitutions, timing of substitutions, and what kind of subs he made. Then we had Nuno, Jose, and Conte, obviously not in that order, and everyone was complaining, oh, it's direct football, it's boring, it's sitting in defence, it's counter-attack, it's boring, we want attacking football. Well, then we get attacking football, and we have this one game, and it's like, oh, what's he done? He's done it wrong. Listen, Romero and Dyer were in defence, playing this high line. They couldn't play in defence with a low block and keep a clean sheet. So the very fact that they tried to do this, yes, we know it's not their style and they haven't got the pace of Van der Ven or the skill of Romero. This is how we're going to play. And if you remember, Dyer's goal would have been 2-2. If Son had scored the goal, it could have been 2-2 or even 3-2 if both goals stood. We were going for it. And once they scored the second, when it's 11 versus 11 and you're 1 goal down, teams will naturally attack to try and get a point.
Yeah.
That's what we were trying to do. We were trying to get a point. We kept them at bay for so long. All right, they struggled and some of their finishing was, or build-up play to the final pass was so poor.
It was all on Vicario. That sweeping basically kept us in the game.
Mate, that guy, defender of the month, goalkeeper of the month, save of the month. His save of the month collection is going to be like Matt Letizier's goal of the month collection.
Has a goalkeeper ever won player of the month? Because I think after that performance, Vicario should automatically be in the running.
That's the thing. I mean, I'm sure we'll speak about players later, but that's the thing I don't understand. I saw a lot of people going, why are you all saying you're so proud? We lost 4-1. Yeah, we lost 4-1. But if you're losing 2-1 and you're going for the draw, are you more happy that the team fought and didn't drop their heads like we have done in previous years? Because at that time, at 9 men and 2-1, we just gone, oh, fuck's sake. And then it would have been 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Or you're proud that they actually stuck to a plan that we've tried to implement, or Ange has tried to implement. We were under the cloth completely, and rightly so. We're down to 9 men, and we gave it a good go. Would people be talking this badly about it if it had only been 3-1?
Well, put it this way, Brian. Look at it a few months ago. Last season, we go down to 10 men at home to AC Milan when we're trying to go through in a Champions League game, and Conte brings Sanchez on and actually tries to. I don't know. He just tries to not concede. He tries to not concede when we need a goal in the last minute. And now, then that's the difference, isn't it?
Exactly, Sim. That is the thing. I don't understand. People will come at me for my reason. I'm not speaking about that because it's not a thing. But I stay constant. Like it's that. Whether you agree with me or not, it's that. But then you have people that didn't want Poch because of subs. They didn't want defensive football. They wanted attacking football. They get attacking football, and now our own fan base is going, "Oh my God, why do we do that? It's naive. It's stupid."
People need to remember we're only 10 games into a project.
So, also, do you reckon if we went down to 9 men? Having Romero and Dyer low blocking and inviting pressure on us would have done any better than they did the other way around, where we actually went for it.
We didn't know. No one knows that. You see what I'm saying? And it's not naive because he's not naive because he wanted to do it and he told everybody it. That's the thing. It's like he's stuck to every single word he said. He's done, and that you can't argue with a man that's doing what he's doing. You know what I mean? I've said that this is a bang average league because it's about managers being a good team. By the way, managers being managers and a good system, and he's doing it. You get what I'm saying? Sorry, Brian. Sorry to interrupt you.
No. I'd finish, brother. That's the thing. You're talking about what surprised me, and again, I was amazed at the fight they showed with 9 men. Yeah, there's some players that didn't have a good game. Yeah, there's some players, and it just goes to show. Listen, it was a crazy game, wasn't it? With not just forget VAR. I mean. 2 injuries, a suspension, 2 injuries, 2 sending offs. Showed how our squad isn't at the strength we'd all like it to be. But what it did show is for once I can't remember the last time we actually went out there and showed fight from that kind of position where we've been trailing and we've done it.
I'll tell you what though, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like a lot of fans are making a noise, but I think it's a very small percentage because it is the people on social media that you see giving this sort of reaction. But being there in the stadium, and Alex can vouch for me as well, in the stadium at the final whistle, the majority of people in that stadium were up on their feet applauding the team. And I've never actually seen that. Going to a Spurs game, losing 4-1, especially against a team like Chelsea, who are such big rivals to us. So I think that everyone can have their head up high, hold up high, because the players put in a massive effort, and the fans as well. Not just at the end of the game with giving the standing ovation, but they were brilliant all game. 2-1 down, still singing. 3-1 down, still singing. 4-1 down, still singing, and then the ovation at the end as well. So I think the Spurs fans showed their class on Monday night, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
And I think they're appreciative because with 9 men, I think the main thing is not only did we stick to our game, but we actually still tried to win. Like that, we try. Like most teams, when they're down to 9 men, they just settle for whatever result they can get, pretty much. But we were brave enough to still stick to our principles and not just play out for a draw, but try and actually still win the game. And I can only commend Postecoglou for that kind of philosophy and being brave in the face of adversity, and that's what I think most fans took notice of. I think during that game.
Well, let's say something.
Go on.
I praised Postecoglou for the Fulham game, the Carabao Cup game. Right, I understood where he was going with this, and this is a guy that needs to be convinced by him. Yeah, and those players that came on in that game, Højbjerg and Emerson. Right, and Skip all came on in that game, right?
Yeah.
Right, and that was the plan all along because he knew these are the players he's got, and that's it. And I just need to remind people, by the way, last season against Newcastle, you saw a team absolutely, completely give up, yeah, with 11 men, yeah, and you saw today on Monday a team that didn't give up, yeah. Correct. That for me shows you the progress that this guy has made over a short period already, and that's it. And yes, it needs to be long-term looked at it, but for me, that's for me was why I stayed at the stadium and clapped for them, and that's it. Sorry, that's all I need to say, and that's it. Sorry,
you don't need to apologise. Me and you both were standing there with the standing ovation after the game. Just before we get into the next topic, we've got a super chat from Wayne Holland. No comment, just a super chat. So thank you very much, Wayne. The next topic we're going to look at is, you know how the song goes. We play the way we want to. A big Ange Postecoglou, whether we're right or wrong. We saw a formation in that second half after we were down to 9 men that I think has never been seen in the Premier League before, with 9 players. Basically everyone in a line on that halfway line, and it was crazy. But the question I have for you, Alex, was that genius from Ange, or was that just batshit crazy from Ange?
It is a bit crazy, but it's. I just think at the end of the day, he said it as well. He said it, and I think he had a joke about it. He says, even with 5 men, I'll still attack in the interviews, isn't it? So, you know, I can't really judge him, really, Ben. You know what I mean? I can't really judge it because, like I said before, it's difficult for him because he's only been here for a short period. He can only deal with things when it happens. You see what I'm saying? So after this situation has just happened now, he can look back at it and say, okay, if this situation happens again, I can try and adapt my system this way. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's just a case of we have to go through these things to try and understand what to do, what is the best solution to deal with it with the system he's got to play, and that's it. And that's trying to adapt to that system, not change it to be defensive, and change to what he believes in, and that's it for me. So yes, it's going to be a bit more industrious, you know, trying to think of things on your toes and stuff, but I think it was a bit crazy. I saw Højbjerg at the back as well, you know what I mean? It was a bit crazy seeing that as well. So but I think it worked really well, and I think it really frazzled Chelsea. I've got to be honest. I don't think Chelsea came out of that game really well at all, to be honest with you. And
it looks like they didn't know they were panicking, weren't they, Chelsea? Time and time again. They
looked panicky, bro. They were panicky, and you know they were panicky because so please, I haven't got this name right. Modric
with a U, not an O. No, with a U. Mudrick. Yeah.
Mudrick. Mudrick is he nearly got sent off. He nearly got sent off, didn't he? Because I think it was a bad challenge on Vicario, wasn't it? You know what I mean? So, and I think that's from frustration because he was playing absolute rubbish. So, and again, I'll give people credit from the opposition if they're playing well. So I'm not like that, definitely not. But he was playing rubbish. But I think for me, he had to do what he had to do to try and get the result, and that's it. And he had to think on his toes, and I think he did well to think on his toes. He didn't panic. He didn't panic, and all through those games, especially the Sheffield United game, he's been tactically on the money. He has been tactically on the money. Let's be honest here. He has.
Yeah. Agreed. Completely agree. Brian, what do you think? Genius or crazy?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both. In all honesty. I mean, if you look at it, if Pep Guardiola had done this and City had got everyone be talking about it, it'd be worldwide news. Oh my God, this brand new formation, tiki taka, blah blah blah.
But Brian, if Pep Guardiola did it and they lost 4-1, would people say that Guardiola's overthinking it like they always do when he has a bad result?
Well, that's maybe. But you know what? He tried something. This is what we wanted. We wanted innovation. We wanted something different. Obviously, it didn't go to plan this time. But like Simeon said before, what did we do in Milan? We brought defenders on to defend the 1-0 defeat.
Yeah.
We want to see us going for it. We want to see to dare is to do. That's our bloody motto. So he's tried it. It didn't work. The personnel, hopefully, I pray to God we're not in those positions on multiple occasions. So we're going to be down to 9 and trying this. But he tried something. But again, what I'm taking from this is he said something and the players follow through with it.
Yeah.
Not, okay, we're going to do this and then just drop off and not give it our all or drop our heads down. They gave it their all. They gave it their all. They just weren't up to it for the 90 minutes or for the second 45. And it's something they've learned from. So the only way you can improve and get better is by making a mistake. And that's the way you got to look at it.
Sim, do you feel like the way after watching that game, did the quote, I think it's from Bill Nicholson, did it resonate with you even more? You know, the one that says that aim so high that even failure can have an echo of glory.
I wasn't quite thinking of that quote after the game, but
does that resonate towards the game though? Have you ever seen a team try and go for it, try and get goals with 9 men?
No, I have never seen a team do what Postecoglou did. It was something very unique and very different. And it shows as well that he's willing to try different things and not just do conventional things to, try and nick a draw. We saw how Liverpool obviously handled going down to 9 men when they were hit at the Tottenham Stadium a few weeks ago. And to be fair, they nearly did nick a draw, but they were never going to hurt Tottenham. But then again, you'd argue with 9 men they had an option. But I think what Postecoglou's way of thinking was that if I'm going to try and win the game, I'm not going to try and just settle for a draw. Even though some people would argue that would be the smart thing to do, his mentality was we're going to try and win this game by hook or by crook. That's the best. That's my philosophy. We're always going to look for the win, even when we're down to 9 men. The only real way of, because if we did what Liverpool did, there was no way we would score or even have a chance of scoring. So the only way I guess he was thinking of is if we can force mistakes at Chelsea and force them into playing a ball over the top and be prepared for them playing that ball over the top with Vicario. Unless they get it spot on, inch perfect, then Vicario is going to be able to sweep up. We're going to be able to manage that. And maybe if we can push high, we can nick the ball off them a few times. And it did happen a few times. And we did have, I think, 2 or 3 chances during the game in that period. So you got to say, like, it's a fine line between crazy and genius. It depends if it works. If we score one of those chances, people are saying it's genius. Obviously, we miss them.
But then again, if Chelsea had a bit more quality about them, you could be talking about a bigger drubbing than we had.
Yeah, that's also true. No doubt about it. So, but maybe he looked at that Chelsea team and he thought they're not that confident. When they're put under pressure, maybe they're going to be making mistakes and maybe they're going to rush their decision making. That's what they did for a lot of that half. They did rush their decision making when put under the pressure, and Tottenham. For every sweep that Vicario comes out, obviously it looks really dangerous, but that was the plan, for them to play over the top of Vicario, to pretty much be on the edge of his box waiting for it. And he was doing an excellent job sweeping, and hopefully he would force a few turnovers. I'm thinking that's what he was thinking. Obviously, if you go into that bit if you go into that part of the game after we go down to 9 men with the mentality of we're down to 9 men, we're going to just try and get a draw. Obviously, that's not the best way to go about that mentality. But if you're going in it with the mentality of we're down to 9 men, but we're still going to try and win this game, then I can't see a better way of trying to win it than probably what Postecoglou did. And obviously, the reality is, whatever people want to say, there aren't too many great options when you're down to 9 men. You have to choose between 2 bad options: either everyone camped in your own box and you just try and see out a draw, or try and do something really brave and still try and win the game. None of them are good options. When you're down to 9 men, it's obviously going to be a serious disadvantage. Hopefully it's not a situation we find ourselves in too often. So he doesn't have to, think about what he's going to do if we're down to 9 men. But I just appreciated Postecoglou's braveness and willingness to try and take the game to Chelsea and make them think tactically. Even though we're down to 9 men, he didn't want to make things too easy for them, and he wanted to ask different questions of them. And yes, in the end, Chelsea came out on top and they won 4-1. If Van de Ven would have stayed on the pitch, it might have been a different story. If Maddison stayed on the pitch, all these different things. A lot of things went against us. It wasn't just the red cards, which meant that the result ended 4-1. But I would say, in terms of the tactic, I would say it's more crazy than genius, in my opinion. But I appreciate the braveness. I would say it's brave, and that's what. And I think all Tottenham fans watching it, I think, appreciated the braveness to still try and win the game, even with 9 men. Now, if we were desperate for a result,
it literally embodied Tadei's to do. That's what it was.
Yeah, but as I said before, if we were desperate for a result and we needed a draw to I don't know, later in the season, and he did that, I would maybe be a bit more pissed off. But seeing as we're at the start of the project, he's basically laying down a mark of what we can expect from this Tottenham team. I think I can accept it.
Super chat here from Alex, actually an Arsenal fan. I'm going to give it to you, Alex, as a question. Says, do you think if Son or Dyer scored the equaliser, you can hold on to the draw or even win that game? Honest question. Do you think if we nicked it, we could have held on?
Yeah, I think we could have. I think Chelsea are really on the rocks. I think the third goal, they need the third goal to really secure the game, basically.
Yeah.
And it's just really weird I'm talking like this because I like I said, I don't rate Postecoglou right now. I still need time, but I have to go what I see, and what I saw is that it was just incredible for me. It was an amazing game for me, and for me, I just think that the Tottenham players really gave a big shift out there, a massive shift, and I think you have to give a lot of credit to Postecoglou on that. I have to give a lot of credit to Postecoglou because, you can collapse. The mindset of the players could have collapsed, and I think it's just, for me, just the fact that they got Chelsea so shook, and those goals could have gone in for me. I mean, I think I don't know why the second goal in the first half got ruled out. I think it was offside, wasn't it? I think in the end, wasn't it?
Whose goal was that?
I think it was Son, wasn't it? The first goal.
Yeah, just after we scored the first. Yeah, it was offside.
Yeah, offside. And then Son had a chance right at the end of the end of the second half, and Dyer scored as well. And I need to see that again.
Offside,
offside. But it's just the fact that they were just so shaky after scoring that goal. I definitely think we could have equalised, and we could have definitely got got a draw at the game, definitely. But yeah, it's unfortunate.
Let's move on to the next topic, and we're going to talk about our centre-back, Cuti Romero. Obviously, he's in everyone's bad books after what he stupidly did against Chelsea. You're looking at it, though. His season has been absolutely brilliant so far. He's definitely matured as a player, or what we thought has matured as a player over the course of the season so far. He's been given the vice captaincy. He's taken on that responsibility. But when you actually look at it, the two games where he's kind of come under criticism was the Arsenal game, giving away a penalty and an own goal. And now the Chelsea game could have got sent off twice over in that game in the first half an hour. Brian, do you feel like, is Romero a liability?
Joe, I don't think he is. I can see where this is coming from. Don't get me wrong. The way I've been looking at it, when I first saw that Liverpool red card, the second one, I completely agree. He could have been very easily sent off for the first, and maybe should have. The second goal, the red card he got. The way I looked at it when I very first saw it, I was like, listen, I'm going to be fair, because that's the best about football, trying to be fair. If Curtis Jones got sent off for Liverpool for making that kind of tackle, then you're going to get you got to play and say, if that's one red card, that's for consistency. And I still kind of stand by that. But I got talking to someone next to me at the Scotland Yard, and I've watched it over 100. There is a slight difference with the Liverpool one, and the only reason I say a slight difference is Cuti Romero plays the ball, and it's his follow through that gets the guy up high. So he can't. Once he's kicked the ball through, he's going to make contact with the player. He's made contact badly, it is a red card. Whereas Curtis Jones kind of went over the ball and over above the ankle, he's following his foot through, and so it's two. The yellow card and the bad performance. Well, not bad. He was unfortunate with an own goal penalty. Yeah, and then he looked a bit rash, didn't he? I think we all went rash after a doggy's first yellow card, which should have been a red as well. We lost our heads for 15-20 minutes. We could not kick the ball straight. We were kicking stuff. We just were so unsettled. I don't want to call him a liability. We all say that anger and that frustration, and that is part of his game. And he has lost his cool. He has lost his cool in this game, which is gonna. I can't say liability. His performances this season. You're talking about 2 games out of 11 now. 9 he's been stellar in. The own goal he couldn't really do anything about, could he? The penalty was debatable, and he's played some of his best football he has at the club with Van der Ven. So I can see where it's coming from. I really can. It's something that's got to be worked on, but I can't call him a liability.
Because I think there were definitely times last season where, he could be considered a liability. But without Van de Ven here now, Sim, are you worried that he could turn into more of a liability and go back to maybe his old self?
I'd like to think that the way we set up our back line now is obviously completely different to last season. So hopefully...
But that dynamic completely changes without Van de Ven.
It does change, but hopefully he doesn't... Like last season, we were in a low block, so he had to do a lot of defending. So this season, I'm hoping the fact that we more possession-based, we like to keep the ball a lot more. Hopefully that means that he's not going to be forced into making too many mistakes like he did last season. I'm sure maybe he might have to do a bit of what he did last season in terms of covering for other defenders, because this season he's had Van de Ven covering for him, right, a lot of the season. But now, without Van de Ven there, he's going to have to be covering for whoever's next to him, kind of, because whoever's next to him isn't going to be as strong. So there is a worry there. But would I say Romero is a liability now? I don't think he's a liability, but I think...
He definitely was on Monday night.
Yeah, I think he was on Monday night, but I don't think in general I would label him that, because I think he's that good when he's playing well that I can forgive a bad game, one bad game in 10. But what I would say is, well, now he's part of the leadership group, it's so important that he's on the pitch for the team, and how he's basically taken that role with it. How the other defenders have mentioned about how crucial Romero's been to helping them settle in the back line, and and him instructing everyone where to be, and how much of a help he's been. So it's so important he's on the pitch, and so him missing games is going to be massively impactful for that back line. I would say maybe his ability to get the odd red card or put in a stupid challenge or get a rush of blood to the head is probably what separates him potentially from being on the level of a Van Dijk in his peak, or a Saliba, or maybe a Ruben Diaz, who maybe don't have those elements in their game as much as someone like Romero. But I put that question to you in the previous video. Like, if you asked me, if Romero plays like he has played in the first 10 games, if he can play like that for 30 games a season and he misses 8 through suspension, is that an acceptable return, or is that not good enough? And I've been thinking about it, and it obviously depends on the cover, but let's say if we had adequate cover, I would say that would be an acceptable return, just because he's been that good in the 10 games this season, and it gives you such an amazing chance of winning those games when he's on that form, that you could probably afford for him to miss those 8 games if he's going to be at that level for 30 games a season. But at the moment, the cover that we have, we can't afford to have him miss 8 games a season, because we're struggling for replacement. So that's obviously the biggest worry. But I wouldn't call him a liability, though. I wouldn't go as far as to say he's a liability, but I would say clearly he's prone to a rush of blood to the head like he was on Monday night.
I don't think consistently he's a liability, but I think he can be a liability at times, and I think he's shown that time and time again. And it's the big games this season where he has been, which is very unfortunate and a bit worrying. But Alex, what's your opinion on the matter? Do you think he's a liability?
I think he's a liability in the fact that, in crucial moments, he's making mistakes. I do think Tottenham fans have been really over the top about him, I've got to be honest. Yes, he's had some good 10 games, but then saying that he's better than Saliba, better than some of the defenders that have done it consistently. I think that's the problem at the moment with fans at the moment. Because, I'm doing stuff on my channel about things about the 90s and stuff, about defenders like Nesta, Sol Campbell. Those are
Don't be mentioning that name as a top. Don't be mentioning that name as a top defender, and get out of here with that.
Tony Adams, Ledley King.
That's what I'm talking about. Ledley
King. Those sort of defenders, and they were consistent. The only thing is, though, I think I don't like this whole thing about him having to have Van de Ven next to him to make him look good. You know what I mean? I don't like it. Even though I've just mentioned somebody like Ledley King who looked good with Michael Dawson. So maybe I'm kind of being a bit of a
I think it was the other way around, Alec. Ledley King would look good when he had anyone next to him. It was Michael Dawson. Michael Dawson massively improved when we had Ledley King next to him.
But my point is, for me, I think you are a liability if you're not consistent. You know what I mean? If you want to be a top team, you've got to be consistent. And 10 games is like a short holiday to a short holiday trip. You know what I mean? It means nothing. You know what I mean? If you're not good the next 10 games or just the one game that is crucial to winning a trophy. You see what I'm saying? So, to answer your question, I would say harshly, because I'm trying to answer the question. He's a liability because, you can't be, if you are your main defender, you can't be a liability. You know what I mean? Because that could be crucial in winning a trophy or winning a championship or, whatever, you know what I mean? Or winning a crucial game. You know what I mean? So I think, he is a liability.
Yeah, but Alex, Ramos got 30 red cards in his career. Look how many trophies he won.
Good point. I did say I'm being a bit harsh with him, but I think it has to be consistent. He has to be consistent. As a top defender, you've got to be consistent every single season. And I'm saying this for every single defender. I'm not just being harsh with Romero. You know what I mean? Because if we're judging it on top players that were in the past, Rio Ferdinand, Tony Adams, they wouldn't afford that. You wouldn't be allowed to do that. You see what I'm saying?
Vidic had games where I remember against Liverpool a few times, Vidic had games where he just Torres tore him to shreds and he got sent off a few times. Like, players have these moments. Even the best ones have these moments.
That's a good point.
You're spot on. It's just like you said. That question, which is a great question that you said about Romero, I'd be exactly the same as you. If you told me we got 30 games like the first 9 he's had or whatever, but he missed 8 games of the season, I'd take that all day long. All day long.
But you need to have adequate cover. You need to have adequate cover if that's going to be the case. That's the thing.
That's the thing. You look at Eric Cantona was prone to doing stuff. Alan Shearer, Ian Wright. I know we're talking strikers here, but there's certain players that have this in their. It's part of their skill set, and they do this.
How many red cards did John Terry get in his career? Didn't he pick up a few? I can't remember.
Yeah,
John Terry, Roy Keane, all these kind of players.
Yeah, you have those, and then you partnered Terry with like a Carvalho, who's like a calmer head, who would always sweep up for him, and Vidic was partnered with like a Ferdinand, who was a calmer head, who'd a lot less likely, and that's what we got here. You got a Romero, who's a bit of a bulldog, and then partnered with a calmer head like Van de Ven.
Yep, you look at it, as Russell, like I like to sometimes call him. If anyone's seen that Vinnie Jones movie, The Mean Machine, and no Jason Statham's character, The Monk, well, that's basically Romero. He has
John Terry had 6.
6 red cards.
To the head.
So
how many's Romero had already?
He's had in the Premier League. He's had 2.
2. Sorry, Brian.
And 2 in Europe, I think, as well, didn't he? Was it him that got sent off in the?
He got sent off against Vitesse and Milan.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I mean, the only reason why I said liabilities is consistency. You see what I'm saying? Because I base my I know that things have changed in the Premier League now, and it's in you've got to be playing on the floor now, be a ball playing defender now, rather than also defending as well. But I just think for me, a world class player for me. A class player needs to do it consistency, and for me, he hasn't done it consistently. You know what I mean? I think Saliba's got him all day long, every single day. But was it Van Dijk as well? You see what I'm saying? And I just think we just have to. I just think it's just thrown around too easily. I think Tottenham fans have been going over the top about him. Honestly,
but when he's good, he's that good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, but the thing is, though, Simi, he's got to do it consistently.
Is 10 games not consistently?
No, he's got to do it for the season, do it another season as well, and get better.
You can't. No one plays well for 38 games. No one. Does.
But the thing is, though, Sim. The thing is, though, for me, is that a player needs to do well first season and then get better the following season. All consistency. You see what I'm saying? And for me, he hasn't done it the whole season. He hasn't done it. You see what I'm saying?
We're only 11 games in.
Well, that's why I've still need to judge him. You see?
Can I just add one thing? Can I just quickly add one thing to this? What we got to remember as well, the first season with Conte, when we're trying to get Champions League. For ages, he was one booking away from missing the North London derby. And we're like, he's got to keep calm. He cannot risk getting a booking. And I think it was 8 or 9 games where he went, or maybe a few, 3 or 4, 5, whatever it was.
Is that the back end of the season? Was that the back end?
Obviously, he picked up the injury when Sanchez came in for the actual Arsenal game, as it was.
Yeah.
But he had to stay, yellow card, and lash out free for a period of time. And he did it. You look, some people, I've been looking at the comments, some people mentioned that he plays for Argentina. You look at him at the World Cup or the South American Football Championships, he doesn't get these red cards. So he can do it. He could do it at the highest highs for club and country. It's just when he has these moments, he has them, and they're just very, very unpredictable, aren't they? You just don't know when that moment's coming.
Yeah. This season, it seems like we do know, and it's going to be in the big games against our biggest rivals, which is very annoying. But I don't think he's a liability. I really don't. I think for the most part, you see, especially this season, you've seen top defending, you've seen a calm head, you've seen someone that's measured the line really well. Yes, he got a rush of blood to the head against Chelsea, but I think that's maybe been more the exception than what we've seen from him this season. And I think Alex is right in terms of what he says, that we need to see it over a course of a season, not just like a small sample size of 10 games, because last season's not really a fair judge. The whole team were crap. We were playing a completely different way of football, and Romero himself didn't have a good season, as of the most of the Spurs team apart from Harry Kane. So I need to see him do it over the whole course of this season to put him up there with the proper top defenders of this Premier League. But look, I don't think he's a liability. I really don't. So
I'm only answering the question. You asked me a question. I just asked it, answered it outright. That's it. I have to say that. You know what I mean? Because to be honest, I did say when I said a liability, right? I said it's harsh, because I'm answering your question. But those are the reasons why I said it, and I'm saying this for every player, because there's a lot of players out there that I think people go over the top about. Again, not just Tottenham players, but I think Tottenham fans may go over the top about certain players. One player, absolutely, have to say Kulu, but we're not going to go there. But the point that's my reasoning. But
Alex, it's fair. You can say people overrate him, but how high? Where do you rate him? How good do you think he is?
He's good.
He's good. Where, like, in terms of Premier League, where would you rank him? Top 10, top 20, top 5?
I wouldn't even put. Maybe in the top 10, but I need to look at the.
I think for sure he's in the top 10. For sure.
I mean, I've not really scoured the whole thing with the Premier League at the moment, but maybe you would say in the top 10. Yeah, maybe.
If off the top of your head, can you name 5 centre backs better than him? Off the top of your head,
Van Dijk. Oh gosh, Van Dijk, Saliba definitely. Who's that player for Brighton? Who's that playing for Brighton? Dunk. Yeah.
Dunk ain't better than Romero, mate.
Dunk's better than Romero.
He's been consistent, hasn't he?
He's consistently not as good as Romero.
No, I think he's been consistent. Roughly, I think he's been consistent. Who else is there?
Man City got a few defenders.
Diaz,
Stones.
Yeah, Stones. Yep, Stones. Oh gosh.
Who else we got? Gvardiol, maybe.
Gvardiol.
Gvardiol.
Akanji, Ake.
Yeah.
But those ones, I would say that's not definite.
Laporte.
He's not in the Premier League.
Laporte plays in Saudi, mate.
Yeah, but he used to play in the Premier League, didn't he?
He did.
This season, isn't it?
Say in the Premier League now. So it's not easy to name 5, is it?
It's not easy, no. I mean, if I watched, and also there's Crystal Palace, Anderson and his partner.
I don't think either of them are better than Romero. But you got to look at maybe what about Varane? Is he better than Romero?
In his career, he is, but recently
in his career. But I think Martinez has got something on him.
I don't think either.
Romero starts ahead of him for Argentina.
Really? Well, he does make Manchester United tick, doesn't he? But I don't know.
I'm saying we've got a borderline top 5 Premier League defender we're talking about, and you're saying people are going overboard about him. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, it takes a lot for me to be impressed. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not.
Clearly.
Like I said, I'm an old school sort of fan, like Mr. Box Office, that likes old school music. You know what I mean? Like I said, I just don't think he's. I think everyone needs to go over the top about him. He needs to do more. I think he needs to be more consistent. I'm sorry,
He needs to be top 3.
Huh? Well,
He needs to be
consistent. No, he needs to be consistent. He needs to do consistent performances, and he needs to be more calmer. And that's it for me. You know, I think that for me makes a top defender. You know, and the same with Van de Ven. I think that injury is going to be very concerning. Hamstring injury. When you're pacey. And look at Sessegnon with his injury, with his hamstrings. That's a bad injury for a speedy defender. A bad injury.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
And I think that brings us nicely onto our next topic. And the next topic is, how the hell are we going to cope with this injury crisis that we've got on our hands at the moment? Mickey van de Ven out for the foreseeable future. It looks like it's going to be a long one and a bad one. Like Alex just mentioned as well, like that kind of injury for that kind of player is probably one of the worst that we could have hoped for. You've got Maddison, who could potentially be out. Romero suspended for the next 3 games. Udogie suspended for the next game. We're dropping like flies at the moment, Brian. And what backline would you like to see for the next game? And do you think that we can cope with the current injuries that we have?
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? I mean, we were all hoping that we could just get to January with most of the squad intact. For this all to happen in one game, you just can't write this stuff for any team. Van de Ven, the injury is the worst bit of everything that happened about Monday. Even the result, in my opinion, because he's so pivotal to the high line, to everything we're doing. He is integral to this. Right, so we're talking Wolves. Obviously, we know we've got no left back and no centre back, and the centre backs are out. I think Emerson's going to move to left back if Ben Davies doesn't come through fit. I know he wasn't fit to be mentioned or even on the bench on Monday. Dyer's going to start, and by the looks of it, it could well be Ashley Phillips or Pierre or Højbjerg could go left back and then put Emerson in the middle. But Ashley Phillips, as you said, and I saw it yesterday, has been taken out of the under 21s and he's with the first team. He's been on the bench. He was on the bench when we were at Burnley, wasn't he, Ben?
Yeah.
So he's been on the bench a couple of times. I've said from the get-go I really like him. I've got a lot of faith and confidence in this kid. And ironically, I've never met a Blackburn fan in my life. He's one of my closest friends here in Canada. So he spoke to me about the bits that they have seen of him, both in the Championship and behind the scenes. And they've spoken very, very highly of him. Very, very highly of him. Obviously, we've got to see if he does it in the Premier League. But I would not be... I heard you guys again talking about in the update. If you're looking for a like-for-like, pacey, tall, strong, and you look at what we have, the answer is Ashley Phillips. Whether it's the right answer right now, we'll have to see. But you look at it, people going, he's too young, he ain't ready.
Season, at the first part of the season. So, I think players like Kulu needs to step up. I think Brian's absolutely spot on. He should be in the centre. And I think he needs to really make himself known now, because I've not been impressed with him. Yes, he works hard and he did okay against Chelsea, but the last couple of games he's been absolute rubbish. I've got to be honest, he's been a fullback rather than more attacking player, right? I think the Celso needs to turn up as well, because he's just been, again, everyone went over the top about him in pre-season, because it was over the top, and then he hasn't turned up the whole season. It's time for you to turn up, because you obviously wanted to get a move out of the club. And Gil, I don't want to see this one-hit wonder like he was against Crystal Palace last season. Everyone going over the top about him last season, when Conte against Crystal Palace. And I want to see some little bit more from him, and do what Højbjerg has done right now. Made himself known. I'm sorry, it's time now. And I want to see Ashley Phillips. I want to see Ashley Phillips because he's the future. He's the future, I was told. So I want to see him. You know, I
So
want to
you
see
put him straight in this weekend against Wolves?
Yes, 100%.
Ashley Phillips.
I'll put him next to him, and if Davis is fit, put him there as well. You know what I mean? I don't know who you're going to play left back, but the fact is, it's like, you know, it's time now to start doing what you promised to do now. You know, if you believe in these youngsters who are the what is it, the Manchester United what is it, the
Class of 92.
The class of 92, according to Johnny, Brian's partner in crime. You know what I mean? You know, this is the time and the place to put them in. You know what I mean? Because they're only going to learn, and it's a build. It's a build. That's why I'm going back to what I said in June. You see what I'm saying? So it all goes round in circles. It comes round back to the circle. You see what I'm saying? So I am not going round in circles. I'm talking sense. You see what I'm saying? You know. So for me, bring it on. Bring it. Absolutely bring it. You see what I'm saying? As long as we don't relegate, you know, as long as we just get in the top 10, we'll be happy. This is what we were saying, Tottenham fans, in June. We said.
So you're confident we can reach 40 points then, yeah, Alex?
40 points. We should be, because the thing is, look at Postecoglou. He's not worried. Does he look worried?
No.
This is the man that
need 5 wins. We only need 5 wins.
Sorry, I'm being Mr. Box Office. You see what I'm saying? This is the character now coming out. Everyone doesn't like me. Don't like Mr. Box Office. Don't like characters now. They like truth. They like specials. Don't like Mr. Box Office now. But Mr. Box Office is turned up now. Yeah. This is the thing. Yeah. Right. It's like, we believe in Postecoglou. Yeah. We're playing the tunes about Postecoglou. Yeah. You see his demeanor. He says, "So what? Do I look like I've got my squad? This ain't Conte. This ain't Mourinho. So let's believe. Let's believe. Yeah? And let's try and enjoy the ride. This is what I was told. Yeah? So we're going to find out if this team's got the minerals, and that's it. Yeah? That's all I need to say.
You believe that we're going to stay in the Premier League this season?
Well, we should. We're going to stay in the Premier League. We've got to. Come on now. You know what I mean? But it's like, come on. It's like, oh, Van der Ven's injured. Oh, Romero's not playing. Oh, my gosh. It's like, well, that's why we've got a squad then. You know what I mean? Come on.
Do we?
Come on. Bloody hell. If you don't know, get to know. Back to you when I'm done.
I'm looking at our fixtures now. We got Wolves away, Villa at home, City away, West Ham at home, and Newcastle away. Newcastle at home in the next 5 games. The next 3, Wolves, Villa, and Man City, we got to go to with 100% without Coutinho, Romero, and Van der Ven. That is pretty much settled at the moment. Sim, how worried are you about these next 5 games? I'm looking at the Wolves game, and I think that we can just about cope in that game without them. West Ham at home, I think we could potentially cope in that game. It's going to be very hard, though, with the likes of Jarrod Bowen and Mohamed Kudus in the form that they're on. But I'm looking at the other games, and I'm really struggling to see us getting wins in those games with the form that they're on. Villa away from home are not the greatest, so maybe in that game we can sneak something. But do you think we can cope?
I think we can be competitive, but I think these injuries will cost us when it comes to the kind of margins in the Premier League, how fine they are. When you've got a defender like Van der Ven, who with his, let's be honest, he's the fastest centre back in the Premier League. I'm just thinking, even off the top of my head, how many times like there's been like a through ball where it looks like the opposition striker is going to be through on goal, going to have a chance, and Van der Ven just comes out of nowhere and sweeps up the ball and wins possession back for Spurs. It's almost like a safety blanket he provides for our back line. So not having him there, whoever replaces him, it's going to be a very tall order to replace that kind of assurance he brings. And I think it gives, not only to give that assurance, it gives the confidence to the rest of the team that they can just fly forward, commit players, knowing that they have Van der Ven there, that any ball over the top, if it's slightly over here or not perfect, or even if it is perfect, you're still then in a one-on-one with Van der Ven, and you have to get around him, you have to beat him, and he's been near impenetrable for a lot of the season. So without that kind of safety blanket that we've had for a lot of the season, and especially if it's someone like Dyer coming in who doesn't have nowhere near the attributes that Van der Ven has in that aspect, I am worried. But what I would say is, I don't think it's just going to lead to the complete collapse of our team or anything like that. I still think we're going to be good on the ball. I still think that we're going to do a lot of attacking. I still think that we're going to play good football and we're going to hurt teams, and teams aren't going to like playing against us. All it does mean, though, is right now, basically, from what I've been seeing, especially against the not as good teams, is when we're dominating the ball a lot. And we're trying to pick the lock, and then they get counterattacks on the turnovers, and on the few occasions they're getting these counterattacks, Van de Ven's there to sweep up, and it keeps basically the pressure on the opposition. Now that this injury's happened, basically what it means is when they do get those opportunities to attack, we're going to be a lot more exposed than we were, unfortunately. So it probably will lead to, I'm not guaranteed to more goals conceded, but definitely more good chances conceded. I think that's definitely be the consequence. But that doesn't mean our whole team is going to completely break down. It just means we're probably going to be less functional defensively, and we're probably going to concede more quality chances, and we're going to have to make up for it in some other way, which I'm not really sure what way that is. But I can't see a situation, doesn't matter who we put in, that they're going to be able to sweep up like Van de Ven does. So I think we are going to concede more chance in this period, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to still be playing good football. It doesn't mean that we can't outscore the opposition, and it doesn't mean that we can't remain competitive. But what it means is, against Man City, I can't see us getting a result in that game. But I would say against Wolves, I think we should have enough to probably get through that game, given that they have a poor attack. But Villa's in the balance for me. I think that's very 50-50. That could go either way, given the injuries that we have, to be honest. And I would even say the same for West Ham and Newcastle. I would say by both those games, considering West Ham rely on hitting us on counters, so they're going to be planning for that. So without Van de Ven, that's even going to be more difficult. And Newcastle, a very aggressive team. I would say once we played the better teams, it's going to be a lot more difficult, 100%. 100%.
Go on, Alex.
I just wanted to say that even with our full team, Newcastle, Aston Villa, and was it West Ham were going to be challenging.
Man City, yeah.
And Man City as well. I put in those games out saying that those are going to be challenging regardless, because I think
agreed.
Aston Villa are going to be our quick tonight, because they could do the same thing they've done to Brighton, like West Ham have done to Brighton as well, and we're playing like Brighton, aren't we? So I listen. I actually concur what Sim is saying in the day. You know what I mean? It's like, but I'm not afraid. I can't be afraid of this, because, like I said, we're in uncharted waters at the moment. You see what I'm saying? And Postecoglou is going to do what he's always done: attack. So we just got to just wait and see how he gets on with it, and that's it. I think Wolves is a challenge, though. I will say that, yeah.
Well, I don't go into those games thinking we got no chance, but I do think it's going to be a lot more difficult now. Go on, Brian.
Sam, I think what we've got to add here is what you were saying. Basically, piggybacking off what you said about them having more chances created. I think that defence has been so solid in a bedrock for this season. I think this now puts more on the attackers to start putting their chances away. We have like 20 chances a game. God knows how many on target. We've got to get more people than Son carrying the goal contributions. There's so many opportunities. Like, I've seen it on a few games, even Chelsea, where we're having one too many passes. Take a bloody shot, or we've got whilst these defence is going to be, like you said, rightly, because of the personnel we have, there's going to be more attacks coming our way, which gives even more weight on the attack. So when you have your chance, make sure you're getting these on target, make sure you're more clinical, because if they can click, they may be able to, like I said, the safety blanket of Mickey Van de Ven. If we're being more productive up there, then it will take more of the weight off and back there while we're weaker.
Yeah, it's absolutely spot on. But Brian, like I said, this kind of injury crisis couldn't have come at a worse time, pretty much, with our hardest run of the season as of yet coming up. With Wolves away, Villa at home, Man City away, West Ham at home, Newcastle at home, with Mickey Van de Ven and Romero definitely out for the next 3 games. Romero will be back for West Ham, but not Mickey. How many points do we get out of our next 5, do you reckon?
So Wolves, you know what? Wolves is such a hard place for us. We seem to always, we sometimes find the way, but recently it's been very, very hard there. With these injuries, my heart is saying win, my head is saying draw, but I'm going to go with my heart and say 3 points.
Love that.
Villa at home. I mean, thank God for once I'm actually happy we got an international break. So these players that are out just have an extra 2 weeks to, not saying Van der Ven will be ready, but it's 2 weeks where we're not playing any games, he's not missing. Villa at home, like I said, like you said, Ben, home they're a fortress, away they're not as good as they are at home. So depending who's back and who's available, let's say a draw there, so that's 4 points. Then who we got? Then it's Man City.
Yeah.
Is it at home or away?
Away.
All right, let's just go. Let's just be real and say defeat there. So we're still 4 out of 9. And what's the next two? West Ham
and Newcastle both at home.
Let's go for 6 points there. So I'm going for 10 out of 15. But
I would bite your hand off for that now.
I would be shocked.
This is me speaking, Mr. Apparently Mr. Negative and always moaning. This is me going for 10. But out of those 5, if you said to me as well, 2 wins, 3 draws, I'd take that as well, to be honest.
I think I can't see more than 7, to be honest.
7. Where are those 7 points coming?
So negative,
Wolves, Villa,
3 at
West
Wolves.
Ham. Beat West Ham, beat Wolves, draw Villa, lose to Newcastle and City.
That's what I had. I had exactly that. To beat Wolves, draw with Villa, beat West Ham, and lose the other 2.
I'd be surprised if we get more.
Would you say that's a positive return if we get that?
I don't think it's terrible. I'd say in terms of keeping us in the top 4 hunt, I think that's acceptable. Considering we've built ourselves a nice little cushion in the beginning of the season. So I wouldn't. Would I say if you offered that to me now, would I take it? I wouldn't say I would take it, but I would say that wouldn't be the worst. Wouldn't be a bad return out of those games.
Alex, how many points can you see in those 5 games?
4 to 6 points.
4 to 6. Wow.
Yeah.
Where are those points coming?
Wolves. I'm unsure about Villa. Whether that's going to be a loss or a draw. Man City loss, draw against West Ham because they'll be motivated, and I think they got players that can can hurt us. Newcastle definitely will beat us. Nottingham Forest, I think we can win, and Everton, I think we can scrape through if we get the first goal.
Do we have a nice run after this set of games?
Yeah, after this set of fixtures, we've got Forest away, Everton at home, Brighton away, and Bournemouth at home.
Okay, so
that takes us to the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these next 5 are. Yeah.
Just quickly, Ben and Sim, are Newcastle playing in the Champions League the midweek before us, or is it done by then?
It could be a pivotal game for them. 10th of December. There's usually one game around that time, isn't there? The last game.
Yeah, because that could play to our hand.
Yeah,
if they have to
qualify.
You've got a good
point. But after this period that we go through, after we play Newcastle and Man City, right until April, the only big top 6 teams that we have until then are Chelsea away in February and Man United away in January. Apart from that, we've got no top 6 teams up until the last month of the season. How mad is that?
It's mad, but it depends on what form we're on, Ben. It depends on what form we are. You don't know what sort of mood we're going to be in. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just you just can't tell. You see what I'm saying? Because you can look at those fixtures and think it's very favourable at the moment, but until you're in that situation, you don't know. You see what I'm saying? Because look at the situation we're in at the moment with the injuries.
Yeah.
The only thing that's kept me I'm calm about is Postecoglou. I've got to be honest. He's the one that's keeping me calm at the moment, because for me,
you should start singing his name then.
Well, no, you get it. I love you, man. I love you. I love you too. I love you too. But yeah, it's just. I think he's just kept it calm, because I think he knew this is coming. You see what I'm saying? I don't think he's overruled by the situation. You see what I'm saying? I think the difference between him and Conte and Mourinho is just it's so far away, isn't it? Really, the way that they react to things. You see what I'm saying? I think he's just taking it on his stride, and that's it for me. So I think it's just the situation. But I think there's just games there that I've got teams that can really catch us really badly.
Alex,
especially Aston Villa.
Alex, what's your back 4 on Saturday? I want to hear it. What's your back? Who are you starting?
My back 4 would be Porro, Ashley Phillips. If Davis is fit, I would put him in centre back. Yeah, because I don't want Dyer there. And Emerson.
That's your back four.
Yeah,
Phillips,
that's my back
Davis.
four.
Sim?
Because I think
I would go for Porro, Dyer. Porro, Dyer. Depends if Emerson. Depends if Davis is fit or not. Let's say if he is fit, I'd go Porro, Dyer, Emerson, Davis.
Porro, Dyer, Emerson, Davis.
And if Davis is not fit, I'll go Porro, Dyer, Phillips, Emerson. I think I'm just going to put Phillips in there. I would consider Porro, Højbjerg, Phillips.
That's what I want to see. I want to see Phillips, Højbjerg, the backline. I really don't want to see Dyer.
Who do you think he will play? Because I think Dyer will play.
I think to be honest, against Wolves, it's not a problem to play Dyer. I think if Pedro Neto was playing, it would be a bigger, question to ask. But I don't want to see Dyer against, the teams that can really hurt us, like City. Playing a high line with Dyer against City is just asking for it.
If Dyer plays and he makes a mistake, right, what is going to be your reaction?
Get him off.
Because this is the point I'm making at the moment. Yeah, you kind of got to look at it, Postecoglou, right? You got Ashley Phillips there, right? Who looks more suits the system. I'll put Davis there all day long. I actually agree with you. You're making some good points there, Højbjerg. I'll put him there as well. Yeah, you got to look at it like this. If you're putting Dyer there and you know what he's like, you got to look at Postecoglou and say, well, okay, if he makes a mistake, well, that's your choice, mate. You know what I mean? You know, and that's my issue at the moment with Dyer, because we all know we wanted him gone in the summer. You get what I'm saying? So for me, I wouldn't play him. We had to play him.
What's Brian's back for? I want to hear it.
So I would go. See, this is the thing. I mean, I would definitely like to see Phillips. So Porro definitely plays right back. Unless God, can you imagine if he picks up anything now before Wolves? Bloody hell. So Porro right back. I think you're going to have to put Emerson at left back. I wouldn't mind. Do you know what? I wouldn't even mind seeing Højbjerg as centre back. I wouldn't even mind seeing that as a centre back. But what you're looking at when you bring Ashley Phillips in, do you want a midfielder who's now been reverted to a defender to guiding you through the game, or do you want a defender, i.e. Davies or Dyer? All right, they're not future Spurs or whatever, or particularly brilliant, but would you rather a defender see you through it? So yeah, I would say, it's so hard.
I wouldn't mind seeing Emerson at centre back.
Emerson and who? Phillips.
But the thing is, we can't play Emerson at centre back in this game because we're running out of fullbacks. So once Udogie comes back,
Højbjerg left back. Maybe Højbjerg left back and that.
I'd rather Højbjerg centre back, Emerson left back. I mean, when Højbjerg moved into centre back, I thought that's the best that we saw him, to be honest. But I think
you have to be inverted, don't you? You have to be inverted as well, don't you? So I think that's why Emerson needs to be there as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Højbjerg, Davis in the centre, Porro, Emerson. Højbjerg and Phillips.
Højbjerg, Phillips. So you're putting Phillips straight in?
I would do. I'm like I said earlier, I am a big fan of his.
I think if we're putting Phillips straight in, I'd have to put him with Dyer.
Why is that?
Just because if Højbjerg is playing centre back, he's gonna need help from his other centre back just to manage his way through it. I don't think Højbjerg managing Phillips as centre back is a great situation, in my opinion. So I'd rather put him with Dyer. But yeah,
I don't want Dyer managing anyone.
Yeah, but at least he's a centre back by trade.
I don't want Dyer there because the problem I have with it is that we've done this under Conte. We think if he has a good performance, he's Virgil van Dijk all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, if I'm looking at the Newcastle situation, and a year ago, Lascelles was finished. He was terrible. No one wanted him, and he's playing week in, week out at the moment for Newcastle and playing really well.
Yeah, he is playing well.
So got me thinking.
You're comparing Lascelles though to
not Lascelles, Lascelles,
Lascelles to Dyer. I'm sorry.
Was Lascelles that much better than Dyer? I don't know.
I'm sorry, but I cannot. I had to apologise to David Harris because of this player. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So I see. So you got an agenda? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it. Yeah, because David Harris was the one for me, and he was the only one that was saying that this guy's absolutely bang average, and he is. I'm sorry.
He is bang average, but I'm just saying, he doesn't like.
But we're in the situation that we're in. We're in the situation that we're in.
I'd rather have Davis and put Dorrington there, because at least they're the future. Well, not Davis is not the future, but I'd rather have, because I think Davis for me is more mobile, and I think you need to be mobile in the system as well for me. And I think if Dyer makes a mistake, you know what's going to happen. You know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's very true. But look, I think we can call an end to the panel today. Thank you, both of you guys, for coming on today. Thank you, everyone in the chat as well, for coming on and giving their thoughts. Let's go around the house and give a little bit of a plug. Alex, tell the people where they can find you.
Mr. Box Office TV, live, proud, and interactive every single time, doing lives. Mr. Box Office Unleashed on people that talk absolute rubbish, and also my team as well, and that's it. And yeah, that's it. So if you don't know, you should have got to know already, and that's it. Back to you, Ben. I'm done.
Thanks for coming on, Alex. It's been a long time coming. Brian, Tottenham on Tour. Tell us what's going on there this week.
This week there will be the late show that I do at 9 p.m. Toronto time, which will be 2 a.m. your time, and around 11 to midday Australian and that side of the world. Thursday there will be an announcement from Tottenham on Tour about a Christmas show we are doing. All will be revealed. And there's a few more shows coming, and we're going to try and do quite a bit during the international break. So lots to come. And obviously Sunday, Ange management after our win against Wolves.
Brilliant. Well, everyone, go and subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. Go and subscribe to Mr. Box Office TV as well. Thank you guys very much for coming on. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Go on, you Spurs.